/AskReddit by Reddit. When did your gut feeling of something's not right here save you? There's been a few times where I hadn't listened to my gut, but one sticks out where I did. I used to live in a smaller Minnesotan town down near some train tracks and a bike/running path that extends out of town into the woods. One evening I'm sitting outside on my porch drinking a couple of beers with my buddy. Two dudes walk up on us kind of out of nowhere and immediately something seemed off with them. It's a college town and drunk people come up onto your porch a lot or randomly just say hello on their way to or from the bars downtown. But these dudes had a badass vibe to them. I had a little black Louisville slugger lying next to me on the porch, so I grabbed and just held it across my lap. One dude asks us, "You guys got an extra smoke?" Buddy says nope. The other guy comes up real close almost onto the porch and says, "Did you see my face?" I just kept looking forward, but not directly at him, and just said, "Nah man, we didn't see anything." He said something like, "Good, little punk ass," and they both walked away. 2 nights later I'm sitting in my living room with the same buddy and the local news is on. 2 guys arrested for robbing and stabbing a man a couple nights back on the trail down by the train tracks next to where I live. My buddy had looked at their faces coming up, and I had seen the dude clear as day that had asked for the smoke. It was those same ducking guys. I woke up at 3 AM once sitting upright in bed. I felt on alert and my heart raced when I saw that my cat was on alert too, wide awake by my feet with his ears perked up. But I didn't see or hear anything weird. Something didn't feel right and I couldn't relax. So I got up and went to the kitchen, turned on some lights, and ate food, even though I wasn't that hungry. Eventually went back to bed. We discovered the next morning that someone had stopped while in the process of using some kind of tool to silently cut a big hole in the glass window in the living room. They were trying to break in right next to the bedroom. I think the lights I turned on scared them away. Edited to add that we had 3 long years of issues with our neighbors. They repeatedly came into our property and were annoyed that we put up a 9-foot fence to keep them out. This attempted break-in happened right after the fence went up and 2 days before they all moved out. Glad those pieces of poo are long gone. At age 5 I was almost abducted by strangers at the park who had a bunch of toys on a blanket and tried to lure me into their motorhome. I looked back to my dad, who was talking to his friend maybe 100 yards away. I got a tummy ache when one of them tried to coax me by reaching for my arm to lead me away, and I screamed and ran like hell back to my dad. Years later I found out those same people had abducted other kids who weren't so lucky. Never ignored a gut feeling since. Thanks for all the positive feedback. And FYI, trust me, once my dad got over the shock he let me have it for not only wandering off, but speaking to complete strangers. I talked to my mom a bit about it today, and she told me my dad broke down and blamed himself. Positive outlook on this though guys, this is just one instance, scary as it may be, where my gut led me in the right direction and my instinct for danger is now uncanny. I truly believe everything happens for a reason. I trusted my instincts, and it kept me safe, still does. Well, I was walking home. Wasn't late and I'm from a pretty safe area, but it was that time of year when it starts to get dark really early, so felt kind of ominous. Anyway, I pass this guy in a red sweater and red tracksuit bottoms, and he looks at me funny. Maybe he's high, maybe he's drunk. Either way, something not quite right about him. I keep going. Look behind me, he's still there. Cross the road. He crosses with me. As soon as I turn a corner I sprint to my apartment complex and run into the coded gate and wait. He rocks up a minute later and stares at me through the gate. He just stares at me for a good 10 or so seconds, then runs back the way he came. Shivers. I'm a firefighter. We got called out to a tree fire started by fallen power lines. We pull up in the truck, and I'm trusting that my driver and crew leader are doing their job and have good situational awareness. We get out of the truck and we're parked next to a set of power lines, not fallen. It's a very windy night and I can see the line swinging, so I voice my concerns to my crew leader, who says it'll be fine. We get out, hose out, risk of the tree fire catching onto a house outweighing potential risk of arcing plus the line disconnected when it fell, and I'm on the branch ready to start putting it out with 2 others near me when I get a chill. I look up, see the line swinging violently, and yell everyone ducking move. As the 3 of us sprint and dive out of the way, we hear a thwip and crack, and sure enough the line we were under came loose and stayed connected to the power pole. If I hadn't got that chill, chances are we would have had 3 fried furies. I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. It's one of many, but this one stands out. I'm about 7, my neighbors 8 and 9, and we're at a bus stop. Guy in stereotypical white van pulls up and asks if we've seen a dog. He doesn't describe the dog, and the truth is, dogs ran around in our neighborhood. My mother taught me stranger danger since as long as I can remember. So one of the boys at the stop, we'll call him Paul. Paul describes a dog and man in van is like, "That's my dog, why don't you get inside the van? We can all go look for him." Well, I had red flags going off at this point and said, "No, I have to ask my mother," and as soon as those words left my mouth, he peeled out. It was only later that I realized I saved us all from child abduction, specifically Paul, who was walking toward the van to get in. Teach your kids what to do if the situation happens. Get the license plate, the guy's face, the car type, and what to do if something does happen. If I had known to snag his plates, we might have had a chance at catching him, but I only knew to say no. Another time I was speeding down a hill and thought, what if there's a deer around the corner? So I slowed down, and sure enough, there were 3 deer in the road. Saved my own life by a rando thought. Some dude get off the bus at the same stop as me. It's about 8 PM and October, so it's quite dark out already. He had spoken to me on the bus, one line about nice weather. Anyway, he gets off the bus after me. I cross the road and make a mental note of him walking the opposite way to me. I make sure to watch him walking away. Something in my gut says not to trust him. To get to my house I have to walk up a hill with a path alongside a high stone wall. It is secluded. Usually I listen to music as I walk. I decide not to this time. I'm about halfway up when I get this awful feeling. I take out my phone, dial my mother's number, and as I do I hear fast steps of someone running up behind me. I know it's the guy before I turn around, and as I do he is literally running full speed towards me. I look him dead in the eyes, ready to fight for my life. As I do this, my mother answers her phone and I say, "Hi Mom." He slows right down to a light, jog, and says evening as he jogs past me. I ask my mom to stay on the line. Her BF comes out to meet me at the top of the hill. The guy's nowhere to be seen. He was definitely running up behind me to strike me, and by turning to face him, I'm certain it threw him off. Sorry for formatting on mobile. Not me, but my best friend was driving to California from Arizona with her 2-year-old for work about 5 months ago, and she stopped at a gas station and just got a weird feeling. She normally doesn't lock her car when she pumps gas, but she decided to do it. During that process a woman came up to her and started talking all nice and whatnot. She got an uneasy feeling about it and heard a noise like someone trying to open a door. She turned around and saw the woman's husband trying to get into her car to steal her baby. She told him to get the duck away from her car, and the man tried to play it off. She told them to duck off and got in her car to leave. The couple got in their vehicle and followed her, tried to swerve her off the road and brake check her on the highway for a few miles. She was smart enough to call the cops. This was in Prim, Nevada BTW, and they caught up to her and ended up arresting the couple. They had gotten multiple reports that day of issues like that. Someone came into my work that gave me the I'm in danger feeling. I work in a place where 60% of my customers are children, and I naturally get very protective of them. But you can't call the police because someone's creeping you out. He kept getting close to children, but not doing anything or even making them uncomfortable, so there still wasn't anything I could do. He leaves and I shrug it off. Another customer soon comes in and gives me the same feeling. So I'm thinking I'm just anxious today. He's talking about Donkey Kong and stuff. Casual conversation. Then he says I'm best friends with Martin Bryant, the spree killer from the 1996 Port Arthur massacre, who is in solitary confinement and can't even interact with whoever has to throw his food at him. So I'm getting a bit nervous now. Then the first creepy guy comes in, and the one I was talking to says I know him. We went to prison together. So immediately I start having a panic attack and have to end the conversation as quick as possible so I can contact the manager to say I need someone else to come into the store. I was there alone and they immediately call the police. Turns out they were both registered sex offenders. Neither were allowed anywhere near my work because it's too close to the CBD and they're legally not allowed near anywhere that could have children there. I actually recently went to court for this, waited hours to go in, and he pleaded guilty at the very last second. Edit. I offered way too many details and now I'm super uncomfortable with everyone guessing where I work. I've had terrible experiences with people finding out where I work, and I'm a bit spooked. Thank you for watching Reddit. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more r/AskReddit videos. Share your stories in the comments section below.